Hello and welcome back to Cinema Essentials. In the previous episode 7, not only were they able to rescue Dr. Tancredi, but Abruzzi and Sucre also managed to break through the wall according to plan. The prison incident also ended without too much bloodshed. Veronica and Nick Savrin were also able to uncover clue after clue about the case. The episode is titled The Old Head, referring to the elderly D.B. Cooper, who has earned the trust of the prison guards through his calm demeanor. Schofield, knowing this, included D.B. Cooper in his plan, hence the episode title. If you're ready, let's begin Season 1, Episode 8. I'm your host Theo. In 17 days, my brother will be strapped to the electric chair with about 50,000 volts coursing through his body for a crime he didn't commit. The main reason I came here is to prevent that from happening. Within about 3 weeks of being in prison, I've managed to get into the underground pipe system of the prison. Schofield, Sucre, and Abruzzi, the three of them, sit on a small bench in the prison yard discussing their next moves. The most important thing in this plan is getting access to the storage room, because underneath that storage room are the pipes that lead to Route 66. It's not that easy though. That area is restricted, and without a good reason, getting in there is impossible. This is your part now, Abruzzi. You're in charge of pie work, so making the impossible to possible is your responsibility. Teabag shows up and asks what they're talking about, saying they're just leaving him out. When he asks what they're discussing, Schofield tells him they're talking about football. When Teabag says he wants to join in too, Abruzzi tells him sorry, but they're already done talking. Teabag says he won't stop bothering them unless they include him, and if they don't include him at all, he'll show these guys just how good his voice can be, threatening to snitch. Abruzzi tells Schofield that if that guy joins them, it won't work, they won't be able to do their job. But Schofield says don't worry, he has a way to get rid of this guy. When Bob's wife arrives at the warden's office, the warden explains the situation. He mentions arranging financial support, but Bob's wife says she doesn't need money, she just wants them to catch whoever killed her husband. Bob's wife informs the warden that a photo of their daughter that Bob always carried in his wallet is missing. The warden promises to handle everything according to the truth and offers his condolences. He also tells Bellick to use his full authority to investigate and bring the case to light. While Veronica is talking to someone, Lucas asks how things are going. Is this guy still bothering you? Veronica replies that it was just a misunderstanding from the other day. When Lucas helps carry the case files into the house and opens the room with his key, a bomb that was set up in the room explodes immediately. While looking at the storage room and thinking about what to do, Abruzzi says they need to set it on fire. There was a chapel fire before. They used lead-based paint and asbestos tiles, so when it burned, it created toxic fumes. So the outside contractors avoided doing the repairs. They only had prisoners do the repair work. In that case, they work there about 5 to 6 hours a day. The guards hardly come around either. So Abruzzi says you arrange this, and he'll arrange the rest. When Teabag shows up, you guys think Bellick is going to drag me in for Bob's murder case. Go ahead and report me if you dare. I'll tell them about the hole in your cell too. So it would be better if you arrange a job card for me in pie work, Teabag says. L.J. Burrows visits his father in prison. While talking about childhood memories, L.J. asks his father to tell him the truth. Did you really kill that person or not? Burrows says he didn't kill anyone, someone deliberately set it up to make it look like he did it. And regarding the death penalty case, there's still a chance for appeal. So for now, there's no immediate danger of death, Burrows tells him. Paul Kellerman and his team arrive at the explosion site and assess the situation. Then send word to Vice President Caroline Reynolds that Veronica and the others are dead. Meanwhile, Bellick is searching through each prison cell, ransacking them. Schofield and the others watch from afar, and when Schofield sees that Bellick is getting close to their cell, he tells Sucre that if he finds the hole, there will be problems, so they need to do something quickly. When work time comes and they go to collect items from the storage room, they open the storage room door only to find it's the guard's break room. The guard points his gun at them, saying this is a restricted area. They're not allowed in, and tells them to get out immediately. Abruzzi says it won't happen again, and they all come back out. When they return to the storage area, they're discussing what happened. Was it really the Coe's break room? When Lincoln calls them over to look, showing them DB Cooper coming out of that room. When Sucre asks why DB Cooper has access, Lincoln explains that the old man has been in prison for 30 years without any infractions. That's why he's on the trusted list and has access privileges. Schofield says then they need to include him in the plan too. "Hello Westmoreland, how are you? Did you find your cat?" He greets, then reveals the prison break plan. When asked if he thinks he's DB Cooper, Westmoreland replies that it's not what he thinks, he knows it. Then he tells everything he knows about aircraft hijacking, and DB Cooper says there's one thing you don't know. He was sentenced to 30 days in Folsom for drug charges, so how could he hijack a plane on November 24th? This makes master planner Schofield think again. Though the bomb exploded, Nick Savarin and Veronica, who survived the danger, escape to a spot by a creek and discuss what to do next. For now, they decide to let people think they're dead and hide somewhere else temporarily while continuing their work. While Schofield and Sucre are talking, Schofield says the old man is quite stubborn. No matter what they say, they can't persuade him. Sucre replies, then find out what it is. Everyone wants something. Find out what that is, son. Schofield search for the cat in the western prison walls and give it to DB Cooper. The old man is happy, but says he can't help them with anything. Schofield says he doesn't want to break out of prison either. That's fine, no problem. He just asks him to take the little coffee pot to the guard's break room and just turn on the little stove. If that room catches fire, everyone benefits. Just help with that one little thing, he requests. DB Cooper says he's been 32 years now in prison without any infractions. If there's ever a parole board, he wants to be ready. "So sorry, Michael, I can't help you," he says. At the medical bay, while getting his diabetes injection, Sarah thanks him for helping during the riot, but says Pi never ordered to work there. When she asks him to tell her the truth, Schofield says giving the injection was just a favor, nothing else to say, and leaves the medical bay. A female reporter arrives to see Lincoln Burrows and asks about the case. She mentions that he has a son, and if he just accepts the death penalty and doesn't do anything else, nothing will happen to LJ Burrows. When she says someone has to die, and it's his responsibility to choose who dies, Lincoln gets angry and asks who she is and where she's from. But the woman pretending to be a reporter just leaves. While LJ is at home, Kellerman's subordinate arrives, saying he's from juvenile court to inspect their home situation, then forces his way in and searches around. When LJ's mother returns at that moment, Kellerman's subordinate draws his gun and signals for them to stay quiet. LJ throws a cup and both he and his mother try to escape. When LJ comes out of the basement into the yard, he encounters Kellerman directly. LJ's stepfather hits Kellerman with a stick and shouts for LJ to run, but Kellerman shoots and kills him. When LJ returns to the front of the house, he finds his mother also dead. LJ runs away barefoot with nothing. Inside the house, Kellerman's team plants fake fingerprints on the gun to make it look like LJ killed his parents. Bellick comes to see DB Cooper and tells him to let him know if he knows who killed Bob. "You knows that snitching in prison doesn't lead to a long life, so don't put me in that situation," DB Cooper replies. Bellick says fine then, you and me are no longer friends, and leaves. Sarah is in the medical bay reading through Schofield's medical records in detail. When her assistant nurse arrives and catches her, asking if she's interested in Schofield, she says no, but something feels wrong. He has a degree. His living standard is similar to ours. For example, if parking costs $200, he's in a class that can afford it. Why would he end up here for armed robbery? The circumstances don't add up, she says. The warden tells Burrows about LJ's mother being killed. He also says the police have issued a warrant for LJ as a fugitive. Since this is still under investigation, if he contacts his son now, it would add another charge of aiding and abetting a fugitive. So just stay put for now, and he'll notify him if there are any updates, the warden says. After showering and returning, he finds a commotion in front of his cell. Looking inside his cell, he sees the cat is dead. DB Cooper realizes that Bellick killed it. T-Bag comes to his cellmate saying they're family, and he's in a difficult situation now. He knows someone is going to snitch about the murder. If he gets blamed, combined with his old criminal record, he'll spend his whole life in segregation. So he asks his cellmate to confess on his behalf. But the cellmate says he can't help with that. While bringing coffee pots to the guard's break room, DB Cooper lights a cigarette and throws it to set the room on fire, then calmly walks out. When Schofield thanks him, he says he didn't do it for him. While investigating the cause of the fire, T-Bag's little subordinate comes and says he knows who killed Bob. Bellick and his team immediately arrive at the cell block A and arrest him. The cellmate had to take the blame for T-Bag's misconduct. Nick Savarin and the others plan to hide in a small house where his father used to live. This house has illegally tapped electricity and water, so it doesn't officially exist in government records. It's made to look like a ruined house, so they can stay here peacefully and continue their work, Nick Savarin says. When Abruzzi's group goes out to work and T-Bag threatens to snitch because they didn't include him, they have no choice but to include T-Bag in their group. When they reach the burned guard's room, Bellick says they need to do the job properly and restore this room to its original state. When all the guards leave, they discuss digging and start breaking through the concrete with shovels. LJ, running and hiding wherever he can, looks at his phone and sees a photo he managed to take of Kellerman just before Kellerman shot his stepfather. Thinking about what to do next, Kellerman and his team report to Caroline Reynolds that everything has been handled. Caroline Reynolds says what they did wasn't for her, it was for the country, so they'll continue moving forward. To quote Captain Jack Sparrow, "What a disgusting scene this is. Killing people for personal gain, using power in wrong places, and calling it for the country." This concludes episode 8. Will LJ really be able to escape from the police? And will Michael's group be able to break out of prison according to plan without any difficulties? We'll continue watching in episode 9. Since this series will be presented daily until the end, please like and subscribe to the Cinema Essentials channel. Thank you all for watching until the end.